Mr. President, I rise in strong support of this significant piece of legislation offered by my good friend, the gentleman from Erie County. And I'd like to speak to one specific aspect of this legislation. One specific aspect that should excite the vast majority of citizens of the district that I represent and the majority of the citizens of Pennsylvania, according to public opinion polling. And that is the fact that the people could get to decide on whether or not Pennsylvania will require voters to produce identification in order to cast a vote. We've heard today that the sky is falling over Pennsylvania enacting a voter identification requirement should the will of the people be just that. And nothing could be further from the truth. Mr. President, should we approve Senate Bill 1 today and the House of Representatives follow suit, and should the will of the people be to change their Constitution, then Pennsylvania would not be the first, it would not be the 10th, it would not be the 25th, or even the 30th state to have such a provision in place. We would be the 36th state to enact voter identification requirements. We've heard that this is a Republican-only issue. And again, the facts speak to the contrary. Red states, blue states, purple states, all have voter identification laws on the books. Even when President Biden casts a vote in his home state of Delaware, he must adhere to a voter identification law that requires even the President of the United States, along with every other voter in Delaware, to show proof of identification when casting his respective ballot. We have seen bipartisan support across the state and even in this chamber leading up to today's vote. And in my district in southern York County, I asked my constituents to share with me their opinions on a proposed constitutional amendment on voter identification. Nearly 77% of the local citizens who reached out to me support voter identification in order to strengthen our elections. But my district, it is a microcosm of statewide sentiment on this very matter. Franklin and Marshall University conducted public opinion polling and found 74% of Pennsylvanians support voter identification. That same poll included 205 registered Democrats, 177 registered Republicans, and 62 independents. This should not be partisan. We have done good work together in the past on strengthening our elections. Last year, colleagues on both sides of the aisle supported a measure to ban outside funding in the administration of our elections, legislation that I worked on with the good lady from Luzerne County. We worked together, Republicans and Democrats, to clean up a hole in our election law, and to his credit, Governor Wolf signed that measure into law. We had 46 senators last year support that measure, and that measure strengthened the integrity of our elections. We can do that again today with Senate Bill 1. And while this legislation is not the panacea to addressing all of our election law challenges, it builds on the work that we have done together on this issue. I could go on and on about the bipartisan merits of voter identification, but at the end of the day, it's not for any of us here to decide. It should be left up to the people of Pennsylvania. And with this proposed constitutional amendment, we are giving the people the power to amend their state constitution. Again, 74% of Pennsylvanians want this. Let's give them the chance. to weigh in on this long overdue issue, and maybe we will be the 36th state to have such a law on the books. And that is why I respectfully ask my colleagues to cast an affirmative vote for Senate Bill 1. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.